Yes, 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 yes. Okay. Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh.
I'm checking if I go on my YouTube link that way.
Mhm. Okay. It's time to roll. It's time to roll. Another day, another night, another review, market review coming up.
Yeah, I see you on YouTube.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. Uh, okay, stock market review. So today, the way we're going to do this, make sure we have this going smoothly. We just going to one real real quick through this. First and foremost, we always check the fear and greed index just to gauge to see where we are currently. And right now, as you can see, we are at 24 in the stock market. So we rising up a little bit, and I'm pretty sure if you look at the chart, we're going to see where we came from. You can see we've been pushing up a little bit. Crypto is actually only in fear now, which is interesting because we are a long way from where we were as far as being way up on Bitcoin at 124, 124K. Now we're at 92. But we're still in fear, but not extreme fear. So maybe we're going to get that center rally. This is that's the reason this is rising up like that. All right, let's do a quick market recap. Let's see what Bitcoin did today. I remember last time we were here, we did talk about the possibility of Bitcoin to really push up and give us like a double bottom, what at that level, and it seems like this is exactly what we're getting, which is absolutely phenomenal that we are getting that. As you can see, we actually holding the trend line. So the trend line held. We did not break it because if we broke that trend line, we would have been really dropping down a little bit. So that trend line for now is held, and what we're looking at is a double bottom. Currently, this is a nice double bottom. Seems we finally took that. That's the live market right now. This candle, that's the daily, but this is currently live. And as you guys can see, we are, as a matter of fact, taking that resistance level where we rejected last time. So that would be the neckline for double bottom pattern. Hopefully we can make that move up by end of the year. I mean, I would not be surprised if the Fed cut interest rate. So we have to hope and pray that Jerome Powell and his crew really favor a cut. I do believe we're going to get a cut, but getting a cut would really, really be helpful to help push up Bitcoin, add more liquidity in the market. But we have that chance. We have that possibility of pushing up to first level would be around this level here. You can see the that resistance level, so that would be more like here. So let's do that as a zone, right? If we're doing that as a bit of a zone, so we would have a zone right here that we would have to get through. Might be a little tough, but it's Bitcoin. This is nothing. As long as we get through that, then we can start pushing up right now. In my opinion, this is what I've been telling people. Anything I say, again, I have to remind everybody, anything I say is not a suggestion for you to buy, hold, or sell. This is not financial advice. I do this for entertainment purposes. I have to say that to cover myself. But we're getting in the chart and we're getting purely technical. As you can see, again, we at the bottom of this channel. So there's a possible move at some point. I don't know when, but the possible move is Bitcoin would push up to around taking that 132. With if I'm correct with what everyone's calling, so we might, if it doesn't go up, like it typically goes up like crazy, we might track on a little bit and push up to, I'm saying around 135. That's my target, 135. I know a lot of people calling for 150. I believe we will see 150 at some point. I just don't think this is something that's in the cards yet. Um, I don't. I think it's a bit premature to talk about Bitcoin going to 150, like right now. All right. So now, if we take a quick look at our ETH, if he's still struggling, right under that resistance level, if he's still struggling a little bit, unfortunately. So we're waiting to see what exactly is going to happen with that. This does not look very good for ETH. Till now, we still have not reclaimed that trend line yet. We've not reclaimed that yet, so we still down. Even if you want to be a bit more generous to it, let's say we want to use this low and that low, we still have not reclaimed that level yet. So it has a lot of work to do. As you can see, if you take a look at the MACD, the MACD is super negative right now. If we look at that in the 4 hours, again in the 4 hours, looks like we're forming a bit of a inverted head and shoulders pattern, which is a super bullish pattern. And when this happens, typically we take off. There's a big move that typically happens at the end. That's in the 4 hours. We can see that 4 hours crossing up. This is positive. So in the shorter time frame, we're not looking bad. We're also getting a bullish divergence right here in the MACD. So we're looking to have this completely curl up and push up so we can see that move come through. But the main thing, we need to reclaim the trend line. As of right now, we're still below that trend line, and we need to reclaim that. All right. So now let's take a look at the market. First thing we're going to look at is SPY. Let's see what SPY did, pretty much did today. Let's completely clean out these drawings. Um, okay. So we we talked about that before. I talked about that before, and I alerted my community. This is pretty much what we're looking at. We've broken that trend line, that trend down that downward trend line. Broke it. Seemed like we're doing a retest, which I really like. But within the same trend we're looking at, right? So if we want to draw this. If we draw this, uh, okay. If we draw this, you guys can see we are on top of this level as well, right? Let's even make that even more updated. So I'm using the most recent, you know, uh, um, uh, low points. So we have one low, 2 points for a trend line. So we have that. So that broke above. Now it seems like we are having a retest, but this is where this gets interesting, right? This gets really interesting when you really dig into it. One other thing you guys will hear me talk about a lot is the different patterns that I'm seeing forming in the chart, right? So if we take a look at that right now, what are we seeing here? I know some of you guys may see it, you may not see anything, but at first, when we were at this level, okay, when we were down here, right? Down here, let's do it as a bit of a zone so we can all see it. If we do that as a zone, right? This is precisely why I was not worried. Why? Because I consider this whole area as it's a big range. We can even call it a consolidation zone. But the most interesting part is if you actually really pay attention to what was forming, and that's why at this level here I went in and bought spy calls, is because what I was seeing while everyone was calling for, hey, we're going to crash, what I was really seeing is that double bottom pattern forming, right? That's what I was seeing, and that's exactly the way this actually played out. Now, this is not perfect, but you guys going to see exactly what am I seeing. What are we seeing here? Again, this is an inverted head and shoulder pattern. That's what's forming here, right? So I had told people, when you look at that, once we moved up so fast, we don't have a right shoulder. So I did anticipate we might consolidate in here a little bit before we can extend that move. And this is exactly what seems like to be happening right now. It's exactly what's happening. As you can see, we holding on to this level. We're holding on to that for dear life. I draw that out a couple of days ago. Actually, I drew that out. It was literally this was our line. I had that. I said, okay, we need to hold on to this level. Worst case scenario, maybe we'll come and test that previous resistance level again. All through here, even a drop to 674, we would still be okay. Or as long as we hold this, we would still be okay. Because what I'm seeing happening here is exactly the same pattern, and then we're going to push up. So this is what I'm looking at pretty much. So if we dig into what happened again today, what did you see? This is the 4 hours, right? So if we're taking a look at the 4 hours, it's so interesting just watching and seeing what's happening right in there. Okay, what do you see here? This whole area, this is the past 2 3 days, right? That's the past 2 days, and all you're seeing, this is just forming a little bit of a consolidation zone right in there. That's all that's going on. So there has not been a specific direction the market has taken yet. We're just having a bit of a consolidation zone. But what's great about that and what I like about that, if you really paying attention, is the fact that we are holding on for dear life to that trend line. We are not breaking the trend line and then confirming below, right? So we staying above it, we consolidating here. And if I zoom out just a little bit, you guys will see how um, the the pattern is showing itself better, right? Now you guys can see that clearly, right? So it's showing itself a lot better now. We have the left shoulder here, and what's happening right now is we having the right shoulder being formed, and then if you want to connect these two, and you have it. There you go. All right. So that's what we're looking at in the SPY. So all this consolidation we having, all these, they might be giving us reasons as to, hey, maybe this is things are going down because of this reason or that reason. I don't buy any of that. Because if you dig in the chart, you see exactly what's happening. We're just bouncing up and down between those levels. Even today, again, if you go in the 2 hour today, what exactly did you see happen? We drop down, we drop all the way down to this level, right? Um, and then we bounce right back. That's like support level for the past 2 days. We can draw this down. So the trade I took today was literally right at the bottom here when it looks like everything was going to crash and this was about to dump, and I had put this like right here. That was my little level. Once it got to that level on top of that zone, I bought calls, and those calls actually worked out very well. As obviously, as you guys can see, for the rest of the day, we pushed up. Yeah, we pulled back down, but then once I was in profit, I put a trail stop on and whatever, and I got stopped out when the market was trying to pull back. If we go in the 30 minutes, look at the MACD in the 30 minutes, you'll see we are crossing up in the MACD, right? We having divergence. We having a bullish divergence being done right here in the MACD, so we're pushing up. And as you can see again, this is just consolidation that's happening here. It's choppy. Um, if you just want to trade buying at support and selling at resistance, that trade would actually work. The past 3 days, that would work. That would have worked perfectly. And yeah, I know it's been a bit tough for a lot of people to trade that because if you look at those candles, right? The candles are so big from half hour to half hour. The candles, like, the move is so violent and so fast. um let's say you are waiting for a breakout and you see this. Oh, well, hey, maybe I have an engulfing pattern here. I'm going to go in. You'll get screwed. Then if you look on the down, if you looking at that and say, hey, seems like we're going to crash, so I'm going to buy that to go, to go down. Again, you got crushed. But if you just keep it simple, sometimes the best thing you can do is just keep things very, very simple, right? By literally just buying at support and selling at resistance. Don't complicate things. Just keep it very simple. Sometimes you don't even need to see an exact pattern forming. When we are in a range, in a consolidation range, it's just a matter of buying at support level and selling at resistance level. Now the Qs are interesting because the Qs actually have been performing a lot better than the SPY. As you can see, the SPY, when we draw that, right, the SPY look like we just broke out from here, and then we have this candle, and then we're consolidating right on that move. The Qs are That's a different story. The Qs are looking to make a run, right? And the AI trade, everyone was saying that was dead. I don't think anybody let MongoDB know that that trade was dead, because what that stock did today was just crazy, being up about 80, was it 80 or 87 points at some point today. That was just insane. Okay, if we take a quick look at the VIX again, we reviewed the VIX recently, and I told you guys the VIX just looks like right now it looks like dead fish in the water. It might pop a little bit midday, but there's no momentum in the VIX that shows there's some sort of move coming. As a matter of fact, the VIX is looking more like something that's about to completely break down. What we're looking at on the VIX right now is more of a head and shoulder pattern for that to continue going down. But then again, this is just what we look at is possibilities. The possibilities or probability. Let me say probability. Tomorrow probability is for us to have a green day. That's what I'm looking at. That's what the probabilities are telling us. Pretty much. That's my bias going into the day. But then again, we trade like water, so we come in. Yeah, we have our a bit of bias opinion as far as a direction, but we watch the chart and we move with the chart. I'm not married to any move, any specific movement. Wherever the stock decide to go, the market decide to go, this is where I'm going. I go with the current. I try not to go against the current unless we get to a trend line. My trend lines, my levels, I respect those um, a lot. Okay, and if we just take one quick look, I just wanna take one quick look and just take a look at Apple real quick. This is not going to be a full breakdown on Apple. What I just wanted to show people is why I like trend line and why I trade with my trend lines. And yeah, this right here looks like there's a lot going on, but there was a lot going on in the in the chart, right? I'm no longer in Apple, unfortunately. But I was able to get in around this level here and got out. I believe it was like almost like right at the top. I got out of Apple, which was a bit premature and a bit early, but that was still a great trade. And that's the reason I respect trend line. It doesn't matter which stock I pull up. If I do that and you look at the trend lines, the channels, and how I draw the chart, you will see exactly what I'm seeing. So when I'm talking about probabilities, this is not because I'm guessing or this is my opinion. This is what I think is going to happen. I'm just reading what the chart is telling me. Never forget, people. Like the chart is charting, and I call that the language of the stock market. It's a language, just like a computer program, just like you speak English, you speak French, you speak Spanish, whatever it may be. The chart literally is a language. I call that the green language. That's the money language. All right. Okay. Now that we've reviewed the stock, we wanted to review one thing I wanted to say. I know I keep saying that a lot, but I want to look at you guys and keep saying the exact same thing to you guys again. This whole thing that they keep talking about, oh, hey, um, the AI trade is done and yada yada and all these things. Why they saying the AI trade is done? Specifically because they saying Nvidia is investing in this company and that company investing in that company and so on, and it's all a pyramid scheme. And I will keep beating on that drum. Why no one was saying it's a pyramid scheme when Goldman Sachs or BlackRock or whatever was investing in all of those companies? This is a narrative that was pushed, in my opinion, that's a narrative that was pushed by investment bankers because Nvidia and all those companies making those deals with each other costing them money. Now think about how much money an investment bank like a Goldman Sachs, a J.P. Morgan, and whatever would have made by getting that $10 billion a deal with OpenAI. Whether it's buying stocks for a hefty discount or whether it would be by maybe it's a loan, whatever it might be, right? But just think about the amount of money those companies would have made. When they talking about how much money those companies, it's not just by investing in stocks and bonds and so forth. They do a lot of deals. When they don't buy stocks like we buy stocks, us as retail traders. That's not how they buy stocks. And again, why is it? My opinion again, I feel like a lot of those guys. If you watch Tom Lee, that's my favorite guy. Tom Lee is a very bullish person, just like I am. The one thing he talks about a lot is a lot of institutions stayed on the sideline. So when the whole Liberation Day thing happened, so let me go back to the cues. When Liberation Day happened and the market looks like it was crashing, the one thing they have conditioned us to do, those guys with the CNBCs and whatever, is to buy the dip. So, what has we've been conditioned to do? We bought the dip, right? So a lot of retail traders bought the dip, but those guys did not trust it. They didn't buy yet. But then they got left behind because the market just kept running. The market just kept wanting it, just keep going up, and they were still not getting in. The market was going up, and they were not getting in. So now it's at a point, as Tom Lee have said many times, a lot of those guys have cash on the sideline, and they are way underperforming the market, and they are underperforming by crazy. If you're looking at the Liberation Day lows and look at where we are, at the top, we rallied nearly 57%. Now imagine somebody gave you $20 million to invest for them. I'm talking about just one client, right? Just maybe one client. And you miss this entire move. Like, how do you explain that at the end of the year? So what happened, right? Those guys need to find a way. The powers that be need to find a way to get us out, scare everybody. We were here. They saying, the AI trade is over. This is a bubble. This is this and all this kind of stuff. And then they pull the market down. And unfortunately, you do have a lot of people that talks about stocks that just chasing views and clicks. So they just like that. So then they pile on and they scared people. Unfortunately, a lot of people got scared. They sold their Bitcoin, they sold their stocks because they were afraid. They thought we were going to crash, right? And then what happens when that happened? Those guys came in, they bought in, they buying in. Last week, the numbers came out. Last week, 80% of the people selling were retail traders. The past a couple of weeks, and about 85% of the people buying were institutions. So when the market was dropping, all these big drops happening, and people are getting scared and selling their stuff. These guys were on the sideline and just buying. Just never forget when I believe it was JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon. I mean, it was Jamie Dimon, and it was what's it, the guy from, was it Larry Fink? I can't remember exactly. When those guys used to talk about Bitcoin, they were talking about how Bitcoin was worthless. Don't waste your money. This is worthless. It's going to zero. It's blah blah blah. Now, do yourself a favor and go look at who owns the most Bitcoin these days. BlackRock is one of the largest holders of Bitcoin. JP Morgan, I believe, is investing in IBIT, a spot Bitcoin ETF. They are investing into that, right? Here's what I'm doing with Bitcoin. Not only I want to hold some Bitcoin, I want to use the same strategy those guys want to use. It's okay, but holding the ETF. Let me pull up IBIT so you guys. Um, it's called IBIT. Let me just switch off this so you guys can see that. So IBIT is a spot Bitcoin ETF. As you can see, it's down. It's down a bit from 72, 71 to 51. So that's a big drop. What you can do when you buy those ETFs, when things are a little tough and whatever, you don't have to sell your Bitcoin. You don't have to sell the things you have. What you can do instead, you can borrow, which is one something I've learned a lot of those guys do. They borrow against that ETF when Bitcoin drop, and then at a much lower interest rate, and then they invest and buy more Bitcoin with it. So when Bitcoin goes up, now they making double the money because one, they paying back the loan that they took on that at a very low interest rate, and Bitcoin's going up, but they still holding on to IBIT. They still have their ETFs in their portfolio, but what that allows them to do is have cash flow. So that's the way I want to play it. I want you guys to be smart. Review your chart. I will be here. I will keep doing this every single night. Just give you guys some nuggets, going over the market and see what's happening. The one quick thing I'll leave you guys with that. Thank you for stopping in and logging in. And one thing, if you're not in the community, I'll leave you with this as a thank you for dropping in. Um, for this year coming up, this is one of my favorite stocks. We almost had that breakout today, but it did not happen. I'm still holding. Fair disclosure, that's something I'm already in. I'm already holding SoFi. I cannot tell you to buy SoFi and whatever, but SoFi is a company that I believe in. I see the business model. I listened to their last earnings call, and I see what they are doing, and I strongly believe in it. And this will be one of my big stock pick for this coming year. So I will be looking to do more leaps. I already have some positions and whatever, but some of them I'm thinking about trimming down and take some stuff off completely. But right now we almost had a breakout level again. Actually, let me just make sure I put that here. This is the next level. Okay, there you go. Just gonna put an alert just in case we break above. I know we've broken above, and we are in the warning. What I would encourage everyone to do is very simple. Start making a bucket list. It doesn't matter if you have the funds already ready for you to trade yet, but start making a bucket list. I'm already working on mine. Have a list of about 10 stocks you really like. that has a lot of. Um, I'm gonna have a mixed bag of what has a lot of potential, hyper growth stocks, maybe pre revenue, a couple of them. I want to have some of obviously Mag 7. You can never go wrong with that. Some established companies. You must do that, and make sure you diversify yourself a little bit, because that's what I'm going to do. I cannot tell you exactly which industry you need to look at, but it's always great to diversify because sometimes one sector might be taking a beating while another sector is rising up a little bit, and that's how you protect your portfolio to make sure that you don't completely blow your account up. All right, guys. Well, thank you for hopping on. If you have any questions, would love to hear. Hey James, I see you, my brother. Thank you for joining in. If anyone has any stocks real quick that you'd like for me to review, please send that ahead of time because there are certain stocks that simply cannot talk about. So if you can send me anything ahead of time, if you like this, by the way, if you took anything from that, please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button, and share this video with somebody that you know that may be able to benefit from it. I do believe in the stock market. I think the stock market is the best way for us to gain financial freedom. This is the only place where racism does not exist, colorism does not exist, classism does not really well, I guess to an extent because based on the class you might have some information earlier than others, let's say, quote unquote. Um, but yeah, just a comment below. Let me know if you have specific stocks that you're looking at. If you already have your shopping cart ready or your list for this coming year ready, your stock picks already. Feel free to drop them in the comments. Let's talk about it.